out of Islay. What is up, guys? Welcome back to Bottle and Bond. Today on our Friday series, our single malt series, we're gonna head back to Scotland and we're gonna visit the Isle of Islay, once again trying something peated, although this distillery doesn't really make everything peated. Bam! So this is Port Charlotte. It is a heavily peated whiskey. It is coming all the way from Islay, Scotland, from the distillery of Bruichladdich. Bruichladdich was established around 1881, and they claim to have the most purest unpeated spirits. This specific Port Charlotte Scottish barley heavily peated Islay single malt whiskey is one of 5, so there's 5 different ones that they made. Bruichladdich is also responsible for Octomore, very highly and wide known whiskey. They have a wide range of different single malts that they currently make and are in production, aging now, and in stores that are not peated, but they also have a wide array of many other whiskeys that they made in the past that are no longer available. That could be that, you know, they put it out there, it was an experiment, it's sold here and there, but they discontinued it for whatever reason. Now, based on the Scottish whiskey regulation of 2009, they meet a lot of the categories, a lot of the criteria that are really not required per the regulations that were established back then. So for example, per the regulations, you have to have it Islay distilled for it to be called an Islay whiskey. And what Bruichladdich is doing is 42% is grown in Islay. All of it is distilled and matured. They get their water from Islay and it is bottled in Islay, which is not necessarily required per the regulation, but they still do. The only thing that they don't do in Islay or within the premises is the actual malting portion of the barley, which they claim that they are going to start doing that pretty soon. This specific bottle is coming in at 40 ppm, and it is also coming in at 50% alcohol by volume. So this is a 100 proof whiskey. Nonetheless, guys, let's open it up. A lot of the stuff that they talk about, rave about on their website is pretty much them claiming to be the baddest. And I mean, I like their bottling. I like the way they encase everything. I like how many different experimental whiskeys they have had. They have, you know, put out there for people to try and have and, you know, make part of their collection. I like their enthusiasm and their drive from everything that I've read about them. And it seems as they are producing some pretty good stuff, because usually these bottles don't last on a shelf for too long. But my biggest attraction, especially to this one, is the heavily peated. Let's find out. So at 40 ppms, I'm curious to know how it compares to Lefroy, Ardbeg, Askeg, and Lagavulin, maybe even Kilchoman, because to the nose is very sweet. The peatiness, this is probably the first peated whiskey that I can smell, and it doesn't primarily have a strong present smoked cheese smell to it. Not even a cigar like. It's more of a sweeter note, still floral, maybe not even grassy or woody. It smells pretty sweet and honey like, delicious, with a little bit of the peat still in there. I'm getting bread, maybe a yeast. I'm getting cherry. I'm getting a little bit of the funk, maybe a little sour, salty taste, briny, oyster-like. I'm getting honey. I'm getting crackers. I'm getting butter. I'm getting a whole lot more to this whiskey than I have been getting from the other peated whiskeys that I've had. More on the subtle and sweeter, relaxed notes. Oh my God. But to the palate, holy crap, it's like it's masking. It's masking those peated notes. This is strong. It's delicious. It's strong though. I'm not too sure if it's the 100 proof. I'd have to go back to Port Askeg and see the review again to see if it was really that potent, coming in 110 proof. But the peat to this is strong in a delicious way. Not so much cigar, maybe a little bit of cheese, maybe smoked woody, grassy, dirty, briny, oyster-like. Oh man, this is good. This is kicking my ass. There it is again. Man, this is probably, the peat is smooth. The flavors that it has, they're all smooth. But is getting me, and it might be the 100 proof mixed with the heavily peat. I really do like how they're able to incorporate so many other different notes. But that peat is it's very pungent in a good way. It engulfs your mouth and lingers on there towards the back end. It's smooth going in, has very light body to the nose, but to the palate, this is heavy in a good way. I'm getting cloves. I'm getting some pretty heavy spices, licorice, raw honey. And now that my palate is starting to relax and settle, a little bit of that peat cigar that most people pick up. Listen, this is intense. If you're into the peated whiskeys, if you're into the Lagavulins and the Balvinis and the Lafroys and the Ardbegs, the Port Ascagues, the Octomores, well, Octomores is there, so obviously if you're into that, you're gonna probably be into this. But if you're into those peated whiskeys, you love that smell and you love the taste to your mouth, just having it neat, you know, nothing added to it, you're gonna love Port Charlotte heavily peated Islay single malt. It's unlike any other my other peated whiskeys that are in my collection. Definitely gets my vote. Nonetheless, if you guys have had anything from Port Charlotte, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you thought, especially if you had this one. I'm also on the hunt for another one, another Islay Barley that they have, and you know, it should be unpeated. I want to see what I pick up and how it compares to the other single malts from the rest of Scotland. I'm Ozzy. This is Port Charlotte heavily peated whiskey Islay single malt from the Barley Distillery in the Isle of Islay. And this is bottled in bond. Cheers.